Hello, everyone. It's your good buddy Spider back with another great episode of Uncanny Media, the show. And we've been really popular the last couple of months. All of a sudden, we've had this strange giant burst of popularity. There's been a ton of new listeners, a lot of plays on the episodes, mostly the newer episodes, but also going back to some of the other ones. People are going back to see what I said during the first 10 episodes. So, if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to the show. We talk about pretty much whatever. I get into some news, I get into some weather, I get into whatever's on my mind on any given day. It's very much off the cuff, and I've said this many times before, so the usual listeners are probably sick of hearing it, but it is very stream of consciousness, is how I describe it. It just, whatever pops into my brain, that becomes a topic, and that's what we're talking about. But we're glad to have you. Certainly glad to have you. Let's do a couple of bits of housekeeping, I suppose. Some loose ends. I guess it would be some loose ends. One of those is that I don't know if I think I did. I must have said, because it was the day before. It must have been. You guys know that one of our new kittens, he got neutered recently. His brother's going to get neutered in about, probably a month and a half, because that's how far booked out they are. All the vets in town are pretty booked up as far as neutering, because there's a lot of strays in the neighborhood. And the people who go and who do it's called TNR, Trap, Neuter, Release. People will go and they'll catch the strays, they'll neuter them if they haven't been, and then they'll release them back out. Which, I would prefer they get adopted out, but I guess being neutered gives them the best chance they've got of not spreading to the population, not adding to the population, and if they still want to be wild, I guess they can be wild. I don't really like that part. I would rather there was enough homes for all of them. And I know it's not entirely realistic, but that's what I would prefer. I don't like seeing animals out on the street. It's upsetting to me. It truly is. But what can you do? I can't adopt every single stray animal in the world. I simply can't. I don't have the space. I don't have the money. As much as I would love to, I apparently can't. But anyway, he was neutered. His brother's going to be neutered soon. So that's good. It's been weird with the weather again. Of course, it's Ohio. You know, we get weird weather. It's kind of cool right now. It's in the mid 50s. It was 70s all day today. And then in the evening now it got a little cooler. It's going to get real cold the next several days. It's going to be highs of 50 and lows of 30 in my part of Ohio, which is... It tends to happen sometimes. This is May, and it's supposed to be springtime, and we can't ever get a nice, mild springtime ever in life. It's always got to be something. And we've had rain periodically. You never know which day is going to rain and which day is not. It's just kind of random. So... who knows? Some news, though. Some news. I will not... be, it won't affect you guys, because since I record these Tuesday night for Wednesday morning, then it won't make any difference. But I will be out of town this weekend. And let me look up the exact event here. Now... it's a well-known fact nowadays that I do not like to travel. I do not like to travel anymore. But sometimes it's unavoidable, and other times people ask for a favor. And in this case, the Uncanny Alchemist, Mr. Rob Solomon from This Uncanny Earth, he asked me to join him for this event that's going on. It's in West Virginia, and I have not been to West Virginia in quite some time, to be fair. I make an effort not to really go. Not that I have anything against the state particularly, but I don't like to leave my house. I just don't. I'm comfortable here. I like to be comfortable. I leave the house to go to the grocery store or to do different things around town, but that's about it. I don't like to trip anymore. But we are going to the Wasteland Jamboree, which is a Fallout-themed major event. Fallout, of course, is a series of games made by Bethesda, published by Bethesda, and they're on modern consoles. The latest edition, Fallout 76, took place in West Virginia, and so it's become a focal point for various people on pilgrimage, so to speak, to visit locations from the game in real life. And we have been to many of these locations. We've been to the town of Flatwoods in Sutton, West Virginia. We've been to various surrounding things. And it's kind of like a con. It's kind of like a convention. There's a lot there. There's a lot of celebrities there. Not like Brad Pitt and things like that. Not those kind of celebrities. But various video game and pop culture celebrities are going to be there. The guy who did the voice for Max from the Goofy movie and Goof Troop. If you know that, he's going to be there. That's a big celebrity, right? I'm not putting him down. I really am not. I mean, a lot of people like that movie. I don't really care. I'm not big into it, but a lot of people like it, and it was a bit of a phenomenon. So he's got a following. He's the big celebrity, I think. He's the big name power, and then they got various people from other Bethesda titles that are going to do speaking things there. And But Mr. Robert Solomon, he knows various people that are helping put on the event because they were part of a podcast called, I think it was Fear the Wasteland was what it was, or maybe it was he was involved with a couple of different projects. And in one of them he played a character, and then he actually, right before the virus hit a few years ago, he went to Boston with the troupe of other people involved. And they did a live on-stage reading of the podcast in their character voices for Bethesda. Bethesda was there in the audience, various Bethesda executives and people who worked on the various games. So that was pretty cool for him. So he's going to reunite with some of those people. And I'm driving, but I'm also riding shotgun, right? I'm riding shotgun in the fact that I'm there to support him while he does this thing. But, I'm driving. I am driving. I'm not taking my car, because of course, it has a timing chain issue. So I'm taking my wife's car. I don't like driving her car, not because it's a bad car, not because it's a problem. I just don't like driving other people's vehicles. I don't like to be responsible for other people's stuff. Because anything can happen. And I would hate to have something happen to a vehicle that was in my care that wasn't my vehicle, that belonged to somebody else. Even if it was an accident, I get nervous about it. It upsets me. But we're going to do that anyway. And she's not going. She's staying home with my daughter. So anybody out there who listens to my podcast thinking that the house is going to be empty and you can rob it, no. You cannot rob my house. There's people going to be here. So don't do that. I alone am going to be the only member of my family out of the house. So we're doing that this weekend. And there's a lot that's going to happen down there. So if you're in the area, by all means, look for me. Look for your good buddy Spider. Look for Robert Solomon. We're going to be trolling around, visiting the booths, taking some pictures. Probably not kissing babies. We're not politicians. We're not going to be doing that. And that's kind of illegal these days, too. You don't just go up and be kissing babies. That gives people the wrong impression. That's a weird thing to do these days, if you know what I mean. You know, with all the files and everything floating around. That's a thing that probably you shouldn't do. If you are a politician, don't go around kissing babies. Okay? Just don't do it. I'm not going to do it. So don't you do it either. But the Wasteland Jamboree, that's where we're going to be this weekend. And I'll report on that for the following podcast episode, the following Tuesday. So you'll be able to hear everything that we went through and whatever happened and if we ended up going to jail and having to stay overnight in lockup. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened, my friend. That's the worst Foo Fighters I've ever sang in my life. The song is good. I just did it awful, so don't repeat that. So that's what we're doing. Of course, This Uncanny Earth is on its seasonal break. We always do now. This is the second cycle of this. We do 3 months of content and then a month off, then 3 months of content and then a month off. You know, that's our seasons. So we're in between seasons right now. We'll be back after this trip. We'll be back on May 9th with brand new episodes. So if you go to YouTube and you look up This Uncanny Earth, you'll find us. You'll see my little face along with my co-hosts. And we'll have new episodes starting May 9th. You can listen to the old episodes right now, though, if you want to. There's nothing stopping you, other than the fact that you got to listen to this episode of me right now. But other than that, you can go and listen to episodes of This Uncanny Earth any other time on YouTube and catch up. And that'd be great if you did that. It'd be cool if you did. Let me have a little drink here. With the old whistle, as they say. I've been having, and I've talked about this before, a lot of things that come up on this podcast do tend to be repeat situations. Because things move in cycles. Life happens and things move in cycles, and certain events tend to come back around and repeat themselves. And in this case, this is, of course, something that I've had to say before. I've been dealing with back pain lately. I've been dealing with my back pain. Now, I've talked about what happened, why my back is the way it is. It's a permanent injury. It's not going away. I don't know if surgery would correct it, but I also don't have the money or the time to find out. I just know that my back is bad, and occasionally, during the most mundane activities, it'll do something, and it'll want to throw itself out, and it'll pop a muscle or do something, and then I'll be in loads of pain and generally incapacitated for hours at a time, if not days. I've been pretty good about taking care of it since I recognized just how bad it was. Because I've popped it doing things like reaching onto the TV while standing still, just standing up straight, reaching to the TV, wiping a smudge off. It popped the back out. I didn't even twist. I didn't even move funny. I just reached forward, wiped off a smidge, and then all of a sudden my back's like, oh, no, we didn't like that. Whatever muscles you were using, it's got us. And that was it. On the couch for a week. I was putting on one of my shoes one time, and I just twisted just the right way and popped the back out. So it does these things randomly at weird times because all of the muscles in your body, they're connected in ways that you don't understand. You can look at a chart and you can see all the stuff connected, but it doesn't really seem real. It doesn't really seem like, well, okay, of course, this is connected to the whatever, until you actually sprain something that aggravates the network. Right? So lately I've had issues with my back just wanting to just not cooperate. I've been moving carefully, I've been moving slowly, but if I just turn the right way, I keep feeling a twinge in the area where the injury occurred, and it won't take much for that to just blossom into a full-on, oh, you're throwing your back out. You threw your back out, now you got to sit down with the heating pad, with the ibuprofen. 2 weeks minimum, very little movement, don't even think about, lifting anything, just whatever. So I've been on that knife edge. I've been on that knife edge for the last week and a half. And it's probably, I'll tell you, it's probably brought on by stress right now. Now, I'm not an anxious person. I've said this before. Again, talking in circles, repeating information. I am not an anxious person. I don't have a whole lot of mental health issues going on. And I made a post about this on Facebook. I understand that I'm a little privileged. 'Cause I don't want to put anybody else down as far as when I talk about mental health. I don't want to do that. I know a lot of people are dealing with a lot of things. And I admit I'm a bit privileged in that my mental health is pretty fantastic right now. I feel better than I have in my whole life for the most part. Lately, I've had various stress things going on. I've had a lot of bills to pay, and there's been a lot of financial stuff just not been great. The car with the repairs that you need, and then the cats needing the neutering, and all this stuff is expensive, and none of the prices are going down. We got the groceries and the gasoline and everything, just utility payments are going up. So I have been a little stressed. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to say that I never get stressed or I never experience stress, because I do, and I'm feeling the heat right now. And I think that has something to do with it, because when you're stressed, it tightens your muscles. You don't always notice. You don't notice the physical things that your body goes through when you're under stress. I have some light eczema. I don't have to take medication for it or like a cream or anything like that, and I don't have it all the time. Like, I don't have blotches on my skin that are always there, that flare up. I know people that do, and I'm not trying to discount them, and I feel bad for it. I do. I have a light case in that it flares up now and then, mostly on my back. On my back, there will be some pock marks and some redness and some rash kind of stuff that'll happen. And it's mostly related to stress. And when I realized that it was mostly related to stress, things got infinitely better, because I was able to decide that, hey, I need to keep my stress under control. I need to relax. I need to stop throwing a fit about things. And so the eczema started, overall not flaring up as much, because mentally I was taking care of myself. But it's still there. It's a genetic condition. It's not like mind over matter. The eczema is going to completely disappear just because I'm in a good mood on Thursday, you know? So I occasionally get my back will itch, and I'll get a little bit of redness and some rashiness. And I think also the stress affects my muscle tautness. The tightness, the tautness. T-A-U-T is taut. Tautness. It's not some weird accent I'm trying to do. Tightness. T-I-G-H-T. Right? They're two different things, but I think the stress lately has affected that. And so I've had to be extra careful, especially with this trip coming up this weekend. I don't want to be hobbling around with my back brace on all around the convention hall. I don't want to do that. Speaking of my back brace, I have had to wear it around the house multiple times throughout the last several days. Because when my back gets iffy like this, like I said, it feels like it could go at any time, and then I'm stuck on the couch with stiffness and pain and unable to really do much other than sit. The back brace helps kind of keep things from getting a little crazy. It's not a solution, it's not a perfect solution, but it helps. If I need to do regular things, if I need to wash the dishes, if I need to take the trash out, if I need to do whatever, I'm able to lift not like hundreds of pounds. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not going to front about it. I'm not going to say that I'm some specimen of muscular fortitude. But I can lift some things, right? I'm okay with lifting maybe 50 pounds, maybe more, depending on what needs moved around. But the way my back is, if I lift anything more than 20 pounds, even 20 pounds itself is enough to tell my back that, oh, this isn't good. It's not the strength in my arms. It's not my arm muscles. It's all back muscles. Okay? So I'm kind of restricted in what I can really do with the rest of my musculature. And it's frustrating. So I have to use the back brace around the house occasionally if I'm lifting or moving or doing anything that requires interconnected muscles that may connect to my back. It's crazy. And I don't know if it's anything that can ever be corrected. I don't have the time, I don't have the money to have it really investigated like that. I certainly don't have the time or the money for surgery, if it could even be fixed with surgery. I think I'm just going to have to deal with it and hope for the best for the rest of my life. So, it is what it is. I'm not upset about it. I mean, it is annoying. It is irritating. It is frustrating sometimes, but we do what we do. We control what we can. We don't what we don't. I don't know how the rest of that phrase goes. There's a phrase that goes along with that, I'm sure. But what else is going on that we can talk about? There's a couple of big things. The second thing, first, I want to talk about is last week we talked about night one of Wrestlemania, the WWE big event. If you're not a wrestling fan, you can go ahead and tune out for a while. Please continue listening to the show because it's very important. But night two of Wrestlemania, I got around to watching because I didn't watch them on the days of. I didn't watch them on last Saturday and Sunday when they did their thing. Didn't have time. Watched them after the fact. And night two was better than night one. Remember I said that night one was not great? It was kind of like, eh. But night two was better. Night two, and I'm going to pull up the matches to make sure I remember everything. I didn't take notes. I used to take notes Um, I used to take notes to make sure that I could do this accurately, and I didn't this time. But here's what happened. The first match was Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, and if you don't know who Obafemi is, he's a new guy. He came up through the developmental talent, which is WWE's NXT show. It's supposed to be next because it's the next generation of talent, right? And he's made a big impact there. He's a big guy. He's strong. He's power moves. He's just a bulldozer. He crushes people. Okay? And of course, Brock Lesnar is well known in the sports entertainment world. He's been in WWE. He's been in UFC doing actual fighting. That kind of thing. He's won many, many matches across both. And they set up this match, and it was definitely set up to put Obafemi as here. I'm the new young guy. I'm the new one. I'm the dude. I'm the man. It was a good match. It was short. It was to the point. They both did their power moves, and Obafemi won. He defeated Brock Lesnar, which is the first time somebody's beaten Brock Lesnar in a long time, because the way they use Brock is they always bring him in to just decimate people. If you need somebody just to steamroll everybody in the entire locker room and look like an unstoppable machine, that's Brock Lesnar. And afterwards, Brock Lesnar left his gloves and his boots in the ring and waved to the crowd and broke character in that he wasn't the beast. He wasn't the unstoppable monster. He was just a dude appreciating the fans. And that's all a signal for retirement. Now, we can dissect that a little bit if you want, but I'm not going to get too deep into it because we have a lot more to talk about. The plan, from what all the rumors were, was that Gunther was going to fight Brock Lesnar at some point, because they're building him a storyline reputation as a person who ends careers. He retired John Cena, he retired AJ Styles, he retired Goldberg, because all these guys were going to retire anyway, but they put Gunther in the position as he's the guy that does it. He's the retiring guy. He defeats the old folks and sends them packing, and that's Gunther. So the thought was that he was going to do that with Brock. But they switched gears, and there's a lot of rumors that say that was still supposed to happen, that this wasn't supposed to be a retirement match. It was supposed to be just one nail in the coffin before the last bit. Like, this was going to show that, oh, the Beast can be defeated, Brock can be defeated, and then at SummerSlam, next, Gunther would come up and do his thing, and then Brock would lose. But the way it's looking like, Brock didn't want to do that. Brock thought that Obafemi was the superior person, and he was just like, no, this is it, I'm done. And I've seen a couple of interviews where he said, yeah, that's it, I'm done. There's a time when the old guys have to step aside for the young guys, and this was my time. And you know what? I got to give it to him for that. That's respectable, because that's how that business works. That's how pro wrestling works. The old guys need to eventually step aside for the young guys, and you can't fight forever. I know the phrase is fight forever, and people will say that and shout it at the matches, but eventually you gotta realize you can't. So Obafemi defeated Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar retired in the ring. So that was decent. The next match was a 6-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title, and I usually don't like these matches. I'm not a fan of Jim Cornette, the wrestling personality from the 70s and 80s. He calls them garbage matches, and that's not too far from the truth. There's always anything like this, you have chairs and sticks and tables and the ladders, and everybody uses the weapons, and it tends to be messy. There's too many people involved usually, and they have to fudge a lot of things so that everybody can shine and have their moments. This wasn't an awful example of this kind of match. It's still not going to be my favorite, but it was okay. It was alright. And a lot of the people involved did well. Penta retained his title, so he is still the Intercontinental Champion. After that, you had Trick Williams and Sami Zayn, and this was kind of a last-minute thrown-together match. They've been doing some build-up with Trick and Sami Zayn for the last couple of months, but it wasn't in a way that it was like, this is a serious feud. So Sammy wins the United States title, and he goes to WrestleMania, and Trick Williams challenges him, and Trick Williams won. It was a solid match. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't my favorite. It was not a match I would have wanted to see. Like the Gunther and Seth Rollins match the night before, there was no real reason to put it on there. This had slightly more story than that one did, but it was still kind of whatever. I wasn't into it, but it was a solid enough match. So after that, you had Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, Dominic Mysterio has been putting on great matches. I'm not a fan of his character, but I like his matches. He's done great with his matches. He's got the I'm the cheaty, the cowardly heel thing. I will cheat every chance I get. He's got that down, and it works. It's perfect, and he knows how to do the moves. Finn Balor, never been a huge fan, but he is talented. He's a smaller guy. He's fast. He's quick. I've not been a fan of his character either, but he did well. This match, he didn't do the match as himself. He put on his old face paint when he used to have a character called the Demon, where he was the Demon Prince, and he had an entirely different fighting style. He still used some of the same moves, but the way he performed them and his reactions and the way he acted in the ring, character-wise. Because his feud with Dominic Mysterio brought out the demon. It brought it back from inside of him, and so he brought out that brutal, more vicious version, and they had a decent match. It was a street fight, so it was another, anything goes, chairs, tables, whatever. So, and I hate those kind of matches. I mean, I don't mind once in a while when somebody brings a chair out, whatever, and behind the ref's back or something, but too many times you have too many matches that it all comes down to somebody went through a table, somebody got hit with a chair. It's like once in a while it's fine, but every single match it gets boring, and it seems like that sometimes. It seems like that happens, but this was okay. It was a fun enough match. They did enough moves to each other. Finn Balor won, so he got his revenge in the story they were telling. After that, you had Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Now, I'm a big fan of Rhea Ripley. I think she does very well. She's not perfect. A lot of these people aren't these days. But she's a good example of a strong, powerhouse female wrestler. Which, if you've watched WWE stuff in the past, you know that they are 100% guilty of objectifying their lady wrestlers. Like, back when the Mr. McMahon era was around, which lasted forever, of course, you had the evening gown matches, and you had the bra and panty matches, and the lingerie matches, and all these. It's derogatory, and it's, there's no reason. It's just to get people to watch and be like, oh, look at that. I think I can see a boob. You know, I would rather see wrestling moves on that. If I want to see a boob, I can pull up any number of free websites on the internet. I can go up to my wife and wake her up right now. She'll probably smack me if I try to do that. But anyway, just ignore all of that. But Rhea Ripley is more. She's strong. She could fight half the dudes on the roster. More power to her. It's fair's fair. She could do equally as well against the dudes as she does against the other ladies. So, and Jade Cargill is a tough lady. She's got the muscle, she's got the physique, she's got the power moves. It's two power move people. Two power move ladies. It's kind of like the Obafemi Brock Lesnar match, only with women. Sort of. Not exactly, but you know. And it was probably one of the best matches I've seen Jade do in WWE, which Jade came over from the other promotion. She came over from AEW, which is known to be a bit sloppy in how they do things, and they don't pay enough attention to training their people. And apparently Jade, when she was over there, she had wanted to learn more, she'd wanted to improve, but nobody seemed interested in doing that. They were just like, no, just do what we ask you to do. Just do these moves. It's all fine. So she was kind of clumsy over there. And when she got to WWE, she was still a little bit clumsy at first. So they gave her very simple things to do. And as time went on, they tried to integrate her more and more into different things. And it showed that she was a bit green, right? She wasn't quite ready to do certain things. But this match was good. She did very well. She has obviously been training. She's been paying attention. She's been trying to learn the choreography, because that's what a lot of wrestling is. It is a bit of choreography. I'm not going to say that all wrestling is 100% real. When they smack each other in the face, that's a real smack. You are getting hit, but the moves there is a level of performance and choreography involved. Everybody knows that. Okay. But she did well. And Rhea Ripley is a professional. She does very well also. She's always done very well. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Rhea Ripley. And this match ended with Rhea defeating Jade Cargill for the title. So that's good. I liked that. That was one of the best matches of the night, to be perfectly honest. The Obafemi Brock match was much better than my expectations. So that was good. The Rhea Ripley Jade Cargill match was good. And then we got to the main event, which was Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. And I've never been a big fan of either one of these guys, but they put on a good match. It was solid. Was it the best WrestleMania match of all time? No. But it was on point. They both got their moves in. They both got the trash talk. The trash talk. They got the characterization. Obviously, it looked like it was a heated feud, like they genuinely hate each other. And it ended with Roman taking the title from CM Punk. And I think they're really doing that because Roman is going to retire in the next couple of years because of his health. He's had multiple cancer scares. He's had multiple times when he's had to push it into remission, and he's managed it every time. But he doesn't want to push his luck as far as interviews and things, from what he's said. So he's on a limited run. So it made sense to give him the title one more time on his way out. He's going to be retiring in the next year or two. Guaranteed. But, so that was WrestleMania Night 2. And it was decent. It was better than Night 1. I was more invested in these matches than I was in Night 1. Night 1 seemed to be kind of scattered, you had the Gunther and Seth match, and the tag match at the beginning with IShowSpeed, and Then you had the main event with Cody and Orton, which on itself was a decent enough match, but you had to throw in Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll, and just there was too much going on night one. Night one just didn't do it for me. Night two was much better. It's still not the best WrestleMania I've ever seen. It still pales in comparison to the one from a couple of years ago that had Cody defeating Roman Reigns, having to fight off The Rock and the entire bloodline and everybody and Solo and the bunch of them. And then The Rock comes out and Cena comes out and Undertaker comes out and everybody comes out. And it's just a massive, just everything happened. It was so many things happening at once. But this one was okay. Night two, anyway. Night one was, again, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. So if you are a wrestling fan, by all means chime in. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment when this episode hits YouTube or wherever. Even Spotify has a comment section. You can only put one comment. You can't put a whole comment thread. But you can put a single comment down and be like, yeah, I agree with you. No, I disagree. Whatever you want to put down. Just don't call me an idiot or call me names or anything, because then I'll just ignore you. But let me know what you thought about WrestleMania 42. I would be interested in hearing your opinion. The other thing that's going on right now that also impressed me. We're going to get into some gaming stuff. We're going to get into some game stuff. Diablo 4. This is a game I've gone back and forth with. I still have certain issues with parts of the game. It is definitely not as good a game as Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 is infinitely repeatable. You can keep replaying the campaign forever, you can do the endgame stuff forever, and keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and it seems like there's no limit to how tough you can get. Diablo 4, you can't do that. Once you finish the story, that's it, per character, and then you just do endgame stuff. And you guys know how much I hate the term endgame. I like to replay my stories. I like to do things over with tougher characters, with higher difficulties. New Game Plus is if I see a game has New Game Plus, that's it. That's my jam. Love that. But Diablo 4 does not have New Game Plus of any sort. It's just got the end game. Once you finish the campaign with a character, you can't replay those missions. They had a major update yesterday as far as this recording is concerned. I would have said today, because for me it's still today, but for you folks it's going to be yesterday. They completely changed the skill trees and the way that certain equipment works. And I was initially not pleased before it happened, because I had the idea that the last few times they've done updates, it seems like every single time that they do an update in Diablo 4, they mess something up. And the biggest thing is that they invalidate the equipment. They make it so the equipment is called legacy equipment, and it doesn't function the same, and it doesn't increase ability the same, etc., etc. And so I haven't liked the last few updates that they've done. They've irritated me. They forced me to go back and rebuild my characters. All the time I've spent making them do things, it seems like it's been wasted. But this time they didn't do that. This update, which is for the Lord of Hatred DLC expansion, it's a new story, it's a new area. They took away the legacy tags from the equipment, so now you can go back and all that old equipment you can still use. again, which is fantastic. And the skill tree changes are not bad. They are something to get used to. And I've only been playing around with a couple of characters, to be fair. But they've changed it in a way that is not awful. They've adjusted the difficulties for the different various difficulty levels that you have access to. They've added 8 new difficulty levels on top of what the maximum was before. So there's a lot to do, and honestly, I'm enjoying it. I am pleased. I am pleased with how... I think they might have listened to feedback. I think they might have actually listened to what people were saying, in that the updates they were putting in were problematic. They were hampering people's enjoyment of the game. They were causing issues with how things worked. People were upset about it, and I think they did kind of listen to that. And I think they have made some positive changes. So Diablo 4, as it is, I am enjoying the new updates for the first time. I am enjoying these updates for the first time since the game started, because previously, every single update they made and every single seasonal content drop they did was a problem. They would they would mess something up, not melt something up, because I don't know what that means, but they would mess something up. Obviously, I'm thinking about grilled cheese sandwiches. Anyway, random. I can't even eat grilled cheese sandwiches. Doesn't mean I still don't want them. Anyway, Diablo 4. It's worth playing. And it is still on Xbox Game Pass. So if you have a console, or I think if you have PC, and if you're signed up to Microsoft PC Game Pass, which is still connected to Xbox in some weird way, even though you're on PC, whatever, I think you can still play the game for free. Yes, you are paying monthly for Game Pass, but you've got over 100 different games you can play for free on Game Pass, and most of those are pretty good. Some of them are crap, but most of them are pretty good. So it works out. You are getting the game for a steep discount to play if you want to do that. And I would recommend it. I think now is a good time to get into Diablo 4. I think they've corrected some of the issues that they had on launch. I think they've listened to the feedback. Who knows what's going to happen with the next update? But for right now, I am enjoying myself. It's still not as good as Diablo 3, but it's okay. I'll take it. Speaking of games that added content, Starfield just also added content about a week ago. It added a bunch of free updates. It's also still on Game Pass. And it also added a new story campaign, which was okay. I think it was more difficult than it needed to be. I mean, I've got mods installed, so I kind of breezed through it, and it was a little tedious. But if you don't have mods installed, I think you're gonna find that it's a very difficult campaign. That every single enemy is a bullet sponge. Even with the mods, it takes like a minute, sometimes a full minute, to defeat just basic stock enemies. I'm not going to get too deep into it if you haven't done it yet. I don't want to spoil anything. But the Starfield Free Lanes update and the Terran Armada, that's specifically where the difficulty is, in the Terran Armada update. The new quest line for Starfield. And I know there's people out there like, oh, who's still playing Starfield? Starfield sucks. It is a bit shallow compared to other Bethesda games, and it does have its issues. but I enjoyed it. I've liked Starfield for what it is. It is not perfect. It is not on the same level of Elder Scrolls Morrowind or Fallout 3, some of the greatest games that Bethesda has ever put out. Not counting the new Doom games. The new Doom games have been on fire lately. But just counting their RPG stuff, Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls Morrowind are like the top of the heap. I know a lot of people are going to say Skyrim, and Skyrim is great. Oblivion is good. I get it. But Morrowind and Fallout 3 are the standouts. Not New Vegas. Not whatever. Personal opinion. Please don't lynch on me. So yeah, the Starfield update is decent. I don't hate it. Once it's done, so it's not like it adds a whole lot to it, but otherwise, what else is going on? What else is going on in the world? We still have a few minutes left, and I'm hesitant to just cut everything off now. But I've talked about most everything that I've needed to talk about. And I don't know what else there is to talk about next. I mean, there's various political things happening. Just a quick mention, the United Arab Emirates left OPEC, which is a huge deal. We don't have enough time to really get into it, but man, that's a big blow. That's a big deal as far as international price fixing goes. The local wildlife here in my town have been up to no good as usual. I was going to mention them, but I don't think I'm going to now. It's so late in the show. I think I should save that for next week. To kind of pad out the content. No, not really. I mean, it's just because there's... Because these people, I don't know where they get off thinking of doing what they're doing. I don't know. I have sincerely run out of things at the end here. And that's fine. I'm glad you listened. I'm glad you were here. All the new listeners, thank you for tuning in. I talk about a lot of different things. I talk about things going on in my life. I talk about things going on in the world. I talk about pro wrestling. I talk about games. There's a lot going on, and I appreciate you tuning in and hearing my opinion, however valid you think it may be. I appreciate the time that you spent listening to me talk rubbish. Oh, one last thing. The price of Xbox Game Pass has gone down by $7. This is an interesting thing. This is a trade-off, okay? They dropped the price from, it was $29.99, which is... When I first signed up for Game Pass, it was $12.99. And then it was $19.99. And then I didn't even notice when they turned it to $29.99 because they were just like, hey, we'll just do it. Nobody will care. Goodness. But now it's back down to $22.99. And that's because they've changed how they're dealing with Call of Duty. Because Xbox owns the rights to... not exclusive rights to Call of Duty, but they own certain rights in when it's released and how. Because they've got it on Game Pass now. Now, right now, previous to this price change, anytime a new Call of Duty came out, you would get it day one on Game Pass. Now, they figured out really quick, I think, because this has not been, it's maybe been a year or so since this is how it's been. they found out pretty quick that means a lot of people won't buy these Call of Duty games if they're on Game Pass on day one. They'll just play them for free and never pay for them. Right? So they've made a change in that Call of Duty now, when it first comes out, it's going to be, you have to pay for it if you want to play it for the first year. On release, it's going to be a pay model for the first year. And after it's been out for a year, then they will add it to Game Pass because they want to rake in some of that money, right? But to entice people, they've made the trade-off. They've lowered the price of Game Pass. See, it's all chess and checkers in the gaming price world here. No, I'm not huge into Call of Duty. I enjoyed a few over the years. I liked the first Call of Duty game that I really played and that I pre-ordered was Modern Warfare 2. Big fan of that game. Very, very fun. 3 was okay. Modern Warfare 3 was alright. Black Ops 1 and 2 were okay, and then I kind of fell off. I don't care for anything past that. Rob Solomon got me into playing Black Ops 7, and it was an awful experience, and I've deleted the game as soon as we finished the campaign. It was just... I'm reminded why I do not play Call of Duty games anymore. I play Modern Warfare 2, I play Call of Duty Ghosts sometimes because there's still a few good points to that game, and then the rest of them, I don't play the Black Ops games anymore. I don't care. I don't play the remakes. I didn't play Cold War. I think I played Advanced Warfare, but I didn't play Infinite Warfare. I don't know. There's so many that came out, and I just... So this doesn't affect me that much, but I am glad that it is lowering the price of Game Pass because there's so many subscriptions now. So many subscriptions. Anyway, I think now we've filled up that last couple minutes of time talking about Call of Duty and Game Pass. Tune in next week. I'm going to talk about how the trip went to the Fallout Jamboree, and who knows what else we'll have to talk about. I'm sure we'll have other topics. I'm going to get into some news, some world news. I want to get into the OPEC stuff. I only touched on it tonight, but I want to get into some of that because that's fascinating to me. Global economics. Until then, of course, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. It's me, your good buddy Spider, looking out for you. I hope you're doing well. And I hope you tune in to listen to me talk about whatever bullshit I've got next week. Have a good night.